I got a huge amount of the Creative Liaisons program. I think being a planner was having a slightly different look at, I guess, the creative world. There's so many things that you often, especially in planning, don't really focus on, but that you can get really out of this once you see how the creative process works with these really high functioning individuals. I think the one thing, if I had to say, that I learned the most was the fact that there is no rule book that's written for advertising yet. The way that these people who are just unbelievably good at their job can have such different perspectives on things that seem that should be so straightforward, like towards scam or towards how to come up with a creative idea, or even what makes up a really good piece of advertising. I think that's my biggest take-home message, which is really empowering for, I guess, the next generation, because there's no set in stone tablet that you've got to follow. There's no blueprint that you've got to make out of it. We can really find what we want to do and drive our own path that way. I guess the most inspiring thing for me during the Creative Liaisons this year was listening to Amir talk about Volkswagen. I mean, I can only imagine what that would be like to have a client that you're obviously very close to, because a client should be more of a relationship than you working against each other. Build all this equity even though haven't done it all yourself, and then all of a sudden have that crumble. And I think to see someone who, I guess, has got a bit of a reputation for being a bit, he does things, or he sees things the way he sees things, and he's not afraid to express his opinion, but to see how unbelievably driven he was to want to not curse Volkswagen, not say that, oh, it's a sinking ship, I'm leaving, but to try and rebuild that. I think that was unbelievably inspiring. It was incredible to see. Like, there was no give up there. There was no give. And if everyone can do that with their brands, no matter how small they are, then I think advertising is going to be a much better place for it. From those statute discussions, watching the jury deliberate on awards and how to pick them, the thing that I learned the most, well, I guess my take home was confidence more so than anything. I mean, these are people who are the best at what they do, and everyone that I was sitting next to are obviously all quite young. I think the person I was sitting next to had been maybe 5 years experience. I'm about the same. And to know and to realise that we can have snap decisions that are valid. The fact that they are bringing up the same feedback that we're thinking about is incredible. Like, we aren't as far away from these guys as we thought you are, because you look at these people, you put them on a pedestal, and it's very easy to just dismiss and say, is there a way that I'll ever get up to that level? But to know, even as a planner going in and looking at these creatives, that there are some times that I'm dead on, and there's obviously sometimes that I'm dead wrong as well, but being able to embrace that and learn from that. I think also from there, what I learned was how these people were able to unstitch these amazing ideas, like being able to see through the bullshit, because there are some of the case studies could have like won a Cannes Film Festival rather than a Cannes Advertising Festival. Like, they are incredible, incredibly well produced, and it's very easy to get distracted by that, especially when it comes to some of the ones that have got lower production budgets, because you've really got to see the idea for what it is, and you've got to do a bit of work there rather than just going, oh fuck, it's crap, because you're looking at 300 pieces of film over the space of a couple of days. That's a lot, and it's very easy to get distracted by bright lights and colours, but to see that these people are so efficient at doing that, I mean, that was really inspirational. I think it was Van Dyke on the first day when he was talking about radio. And I think when you look at a medium like radio, which is so often forgotten, it's almost a bottom drawer sort of medium for people to use, to see the passion that he's got for something and the way that he approaches that is something I'm hope to take forward. It's that idea that you've got a single-minded message, and then that's what planners are all about, trying to find that, the one core thing that you need, the one thing that needs to be wrapped up in creativity for it to really work and make behavioural change. To be able to really, I guess, refine that, for me to get better at making sure that everything comes down to one bit, one take home, and then making sure that no matter what happens for this, that the audience can understand that, and that's what they get from it, even if it's not obvious. And I think with that comes integration with media that you might dismiss openly. It's very easy to go, let's make it TV, or let's make it radio, or maybe radio. Let's put it on a bus back and let's put it on a billboard, and then that's the job done. But if you can push different things, if you can push different media into ways that are unexpected, like I sat in the new media, the new media for the jury stuff, and seeing the way that people are using these traditional media and non-traditional media in ways to really get their brand message out there. I mean, that's what I'm going to try to do. It's sort of amplifying everything that we've got based off a really single-minded proposition. So no matter what the touch point is, like Van Dyke's, he had a radio message that fit in perfectly with the TV, but it wasn't telling the same story. It was telling the same story in a different way. Both of them could have stood aside, like alone, and worked, but the fact that they worked together made it a much stronger campaign in the end. So yeah, making sure that, I guess, in conclusion, that one single message and making sure that flows throughout.